This is something called the internal triangle. I've used it, I think, once on a leadership program. But when it comes to it, there are 3 areas that we look at, okay? In order to be successful. Goal, desire, belief, okay? Now, the resilience part comes in your belief, as you know. So, in order to be successful, you need to know what you're aiming for. What's the goal, okay? So, this is why when we went into lockdown back in April last year, end of March, April, I did a session quite early on about having a new routine. And the reason why people needed a new routine because they were working at home now, they weren't working in an office, they may have had children around to do. The reason people need a new routine is because of this bit. We need to have a goal. The reason why this pandemic has been so difficult, or challenging, should I say, is because there's been no end goal, has there? This is why the Prime Minister is under pressure to release a plan out of lockdown, which I believe is going to happen on the 22nd of February, okay? And to be fair to the government though, we've had resurgence of new variants and so on and so on and so on. But there's been no end date. There's been no goal. There's been, I think at Christmas, the Prime Minister said, we should be out of this by the spring. Businesses can start planning and so on and so on and so on. And I think to a certain degree we might be some way out of it by the spring, but that's if a new variant doesn't kick up, of course, again. But not having a goal to sit on or aim for is left people stagnant, which is why having a daily routine where you know what you're going to do and you tick off your tasks and stuff, those ticking off the tasks build your resilience. So where possible, have a goal, and if lockdown is one of the things that's knocking your resilience, then have some goals for what you're going to do after lockdown, okay? You don't need to know how long that is away. You don't need to know, is it a month or 2 months or 3 months? Just choose and get a list of things to do when you're able. This is something I did with my 2 youngest daughters at the weekend. So my 2 youngest daughters, unfortunately, I've now obviously fallen into the trap of not going out at all. Because you can't take them anywhere apart from exercise, so we go for a walk. But other than that, they've fallen into I'm just going to get up and watch my iPad all day. Okay, so I sat down, and whereas we'd normally go swimming or do a bit of football or this or that or whatever, I kind of sat down with them and I went, "Are you all right?" And they were both like, yeah, nothing do, And so I sat them down and went, okay, let's come up with a list of things we're going to do when lockdown's finished. Well, when will that be, Daddy? I don't know yet, darling, but that doesn't matter. Let's write down all the things that we want to do when lockdown is over. And of course that got them excited again. It got them, oh yeah, there is an end to it. There will be an end to it, even though we can't see it, and so on. So having a goal to aim for is very, very important in order of resilience. Then belief that you're able to achieve that goal. So again, the belief might not be short term. Well, we can't do it tomorrow. We might not be able to do it next week. But you know what? At some point, I'm going to go do that thing. Yeah? Because you need the belief in order to do it. And then more importantly, or should I say as importantly, the motivation to do it. Okay? When we come out of lockdown, there will be loads of people that are motivated to take the kids swimming and play football and do this and do that and all these other things. Whereas I remember back down before lockdown, you kind of get to the end of the week and go, oh God, I've got swimming and football tomorrow. I could just do with a day of doing nothing. Yeah, and hasn't our view of things changed over the last 12 months? I think most of us would quite like now to get out and start doing things. Okay, so 3 key things in order to be successful, in order to help you with your resilience. A goal or goals, belief that you can achieve them at some point, and desire to be able to go and do that. We call that the internal triangle. And it's a triangle because if you take one of these things away, it'll fall apart. If you haven't got clear goals, the brain's got no direction to move in. So you become stagnant, and that's when resilience starts to drop. You might have a clear goal, but your belief and confidence is low that you can do it, or your resilience is low in order for you to be able to do that. There's a great advert that I've heard on the radio in the last couple of weeks. It's for the army, and it's a lady that's running, and she's out of breath, and she says, oh, you can hear her out of breath, and she went, oh, I failed again. I failed by 40 seconds on this run again. But that's okay, because yesterday I failed by a minute, and the day before I failed by 2 minutes. So I know what I need to fail at tomorrow, and then I'll get to my end goal. So it's a great little example. I quite like the advert, actually. It's a great little advert of failing's okay. You've got to have belief that you can get there. And then, of course, the desire to actually do something. It's important for me that I take my children out for a walk. They don't want to go out for a walk, but if I don't take them out for the walk, then they're in their house all weekend on their iPads and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. Yeah? And so, but sometimes I fall into that, oh, do you know what, it's freezing outside, it's cold, and we can't really do anything other than a bit of a walk. And, but it's important that you increase the desire to go and do what you need. All of these things will build resilience.